Hello you, it's me. And I just watched the video, it's over an hour long, of Gypsy and Ken and the baby, watching the third episode of their show. This comes from Night Convos. The name of the video is Gypsy and Ken show baby Aurora on live watching Gypsy's show. And there was a few flashes of the baby's face, but I did write a lot of notes, and so I'm just going to go over some of them with you. This is all the thoughts that I had watching them. And you can see Lovey's comment, I'm assuming Lovey, at the top that says stop forcing it, because, well, you'll understand. They kept Gypsy, just like in the other episode with her stepmother, Christy, they kept trying to force the baby to take the pacifier. I'll be honest, my child would just spit it out. They didn't like pacifiers at all. So, some do, some don't. But to keep trying to force it into her mouth to make her go to sleep, I find irritating. Anyhow, so this is what I got. In the very beginning, Gypsy is holding Aurora, the baby, and she was not holding the baby properly, and Ken corrected her. Then she was really happy that the baby fell asleep, happy to give her back to Ken, focused on her shoes from the show where she was giving her speech in San Francisco. And she talked a lot about shoes for some reason. A very narcissistic personality quirk, in my opinion. She focused on herself while Ken was taking care of Aurora. Not looking at the baby at all, even though he was holding the baby right next to her. She was just focusing on herself. Focused on her hair from the show. Talking about her needing a new stylist. I'm struggling to read because of my glass. I need new glasses. Ken checks on Gypsy while he's talking to the baby, and talks about some of the things that were happening in the show. Then Gypsy goes on to talk more about herself. Let's see. Then they talk about, there's a part, I guess, where they have a tarot card reading, and Gypsy talks about how skeptical she is about tarot cards and how they seem to be spot on. Then Ken gets up and gives Gypsy a blanket, because I guess taking care of Aurora wasn't enough. Just taking care of the baby the whole time. He has to take care of Gypsy as well. She talks about her life, tells a little story about her mom and how they went to get a tarot reading, and her mom got really angry, and she thought that was super funny. Let's see. Then I guess the baby calms down for a bit, and Gypsy and Ken talk about filming and what it was like to film the show. And then Ken gets up again to tend to the baby. And let me just say, with Ken, he not only corrected Gypsy, but he held the baby correctly, and he was very attentive to the baby and to Gypsy at the same time. It was very interesting to see. It's the very opposite of what you think Ken would be when it comes to watching the show, which just further makes me think they did all that on purpose so that Gypsy could be the victim and everyone would feel sorry for her again. Let's see. Gypsy, while Ken is holding the baby, Gypsy leans into Ken, and I don't know. To me, it just looked like she's trying to get his attention as well, away from the baby and onto her. She talks about how she was a victim of doxing and how terrible that was. She's always the victim. Then Ken takes care of the baby again. He walked around with her a little bit, I guess. It was off camera. I don't know what that says. I wrote this so fast. She mentioned in the show that she doesn't bother anyone. Why are they bothering her? But we know that's not true, considering all of the internet beef she's had and the nasty things she said, not just about Nick Godejohn, but just about people in general. Yeah, she's been really nasty. Look what she did with Nina. You know, there's another great example. Ken has to get the baby again. Gypsy looks a little annoyed that Ken is talking over her because he's singing to the baby to try to help her, I guess, to go to sleep. Then they talk a little bit about the show after it was done. Let's see. Gypsy holds the baby for a moment while Ken goes to get the bottle, and baby looks very stiff. It didn't even look like a real baby. The baby looks very stiff and just weird. It wasn't. It didn't. It looked like a doll. The baby did not look like a baby, which is very strange. But that's what it looked like. And the baby pushes Gypsy's face away and pushes away from Gypsy. And it sounded like the baby said no. It really did. Like hit her in the face and said no. I don't think that's what happened, but that's what it sounded like. That baby has no connection to Gypsy, has no interest in Gypsy from what it looked like. The baby's crying. Ken gets the baby to give the baby a bottle. Gypsy talks about don't come to my house, which, you know, I agree with. What do you need to go to her house for? Although it is my understanding that the creator who went to her house was only doing it. They did a live stream of driving by her house only to show that this creator lives close by to Gypsy, because apparently Gypsy and Bree and a bunch of other people were saying that she doesn't even live in the area, and all she was doing was driving over there to say, look, I'll show you. Took me 15 minutes to get here. Look, there's her house. And then she drives away. So I don't know if I don't really consider that to be terrible, although I know if somebody was driving my house and I saw it, that would make me a little scared. I will admit that. But I don't think the creator meant anything by it except to say, look, I live here too. So, but again, I don't think it was a great idea. I understand that they were doing it because they're getting really frustrated, and I get that. But I don't think it's a good idea to drive by your home. And also Gypsy claims, I'm human, I have a family, and that was a reason for why she shouldn't be driving by her house. But as far as I know, she didn't stop by the house, she didn't knock on the door, she didn't bother them. She literally was just saying, look, I live here too. I know what I'm talking about, and F you. But I'll tell you, the takeaways that I got from this was that Gypsy does not know how to hold the baby. Gypsy has not been around the baby, but you can see that Ken has. Ken was very attentive to the baby. The moment the baby made a noise, he was looking over, he was checking up on her. I don't know that he's a good or bad father, but from what I saw in this video from Night Convos, a video of the live they did, I'm assuming last night, because it was them talking about the third episode of the show, and they were watching it live, I guess, while it was on. don't the big takeaway is Ken does know how to take care of a baby. He obviously has been taking care of this baby. And again, it's the way the baby moves. I'm going to play it a little bit. The way this baby looks and moves, it doesn't look like a real baby. And I know that's crazy to say. It seems obviously to be a baby. The baby makes noises. The baby's crying. I think here you'll be able to see the baby push her face away. But it just looks so stiff. It doesn't look like a real baby. So it also looks a little smaller. See, there you go. She pushed Gypsy's face away. But yeah, I mean, look at how stiff the baby is. It just doesn't look... The way she holds him, the way the baby moves when she's holding the baby, it just looks weird to me. Here she, shows half the face. I think she's doing it all on purpose. They pointed out on Night Convos. But yeah, the baby just moves strangely. Gypsy moves strangely with the baby in her arms. And it doesn't look real. I hate to say it, but like I said, Ken seemed to be very attentive, constantly looking over. When he's holding the baby, it just looks like a baby. When he's taking care of the baby, it sounds like he's taking care of the baby. But when she holds the baby, do babies do that? Do they stiffen up? Because I don't ever remember my child doing that. I remember my child crying instantly when another woman approached and wanted to touch her, my child. And I think that was just a knee-jerk reaction because my child didn't like that woman. I don't blame her. Babies can be very intuitive. That's the one saving grace of a tiny, tiny baby, is that, they can pick up on people and their intentions. And maybe that's why Aurora is so stiff and crying and uncomfortable when Gypsy is holding her. Because it literally, every time Gypsy holds this child, the child looks stiff and it looks like a baby doll. And I don't know, again, I don't know. I know a little bit about babies. I've never seen a baby do that. So I don't know if that's a thing. Maybe it is. I might look it up later and see if I can find if there's anything on that. Because I've never seen that. Every time it happens. But again, when Ken was holding the baby, it just looked like a baby. I can't understand it. Anyway, I just thought I would do a quick overview of that. Because it was over an hour, like I said. It was like an hour, 11 minutes. It was long. So, I suggest go watch it so you can see what I'm talking about. Or just listen to what I said, a little recap of it. Do both. Night Convos is awesome, and they deserve all the views. Besides, we got to get them to, what was it, 3,700 right now, or 3,725 if you want to get it. I say go 3,750. Make them both win. Not that they're really competing against each other. It's just a silly little thing. But, go give them some love because they're awesome. And I thank them for this video, that I got to see because I would never have watched this. But anyway, that's a recap of it. It's all very weird still to me. And that's all I got to say.